Well, a couple of days ago, it was released some new gameplay for Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord's closed beta, where a lot of people went in to be able to play the new skirmish mode. Now, I made a video on the first half of it, but this is me covering the second half, a few things that I missed and some more interesting bits. But before I get into it, make sure you go and head over to your favourite podcasting app and download the Resonant podcast, since episode 6 has just been uploaded. It's great fun, and I hope you guys enjoy it. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Quickly before I get into the video, make sure you check the links out into the description to go into Aniba Games. You can get some great deals on pretty much any game. I mean, Kingdom Come Delivered's £17 and it's like 40 quid on Steam, so it's sort of a no-brainer. All the Total War games, pretty much any Steam games, but not even just Steam games. Any platform, Xbox, PS4, whatever. You can click the links in the description and support the channel. I mean, Mount & Blade, the full collection is like £3 and that's got everything in, so I mean, you might as well. Make sure you go and use code RESONANT to get a 3% discount. Links in the description, and if you register now, which you don't have to, but you can, you also get another euro off it. So that's something you can do if you have the time and want to support the channel. Judging from the last video, a lot of people have stated a couple of things, but the thing that most people are talking about is graphics, and for some reason this no end, nothing really gets under my skin, but the fact that people talk about graphics in Bannerlord sort of does a little bit, because I think the people that say that have probably never played Mount & Blade before. Mount & Blade isn't a game known for its graphics, and whilst yes, Bannerlord hopefully will have better graphics, as we can see, and it does look gorgeous, the lighting engine is really nice. Is it going to be the best looking game when it comes out? Of course it's goddamn not. It's a tiny studio compared to these massive AAA studios, and that's not what Mount & Blade is about. When you're playing Battlefield, you've got 32 people on each side. It looks gorgeous, but imagine that and trying to put that into Mount & Blade scenario. Let's push to the side that DICE and EA are billion-dollar companies and can make games that look that good. Let's forget about that. But that's 32 players on each side. Maybe 64 players on each side. But what about Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord? Well, if we're taking it off warband statistics, that's 100 players on each side, 200 players in total. 200 versus the 64 Battlefield, a little bit different. Some servers in warband, though, were even pushed up to 250 players in one server, and that was in warband. It is stated that the game modes and some of the maps, especially in single player, is going to be trying to push the numbers, and no doubt are they going to be trying to push the numbers in Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord as well. So it's a completely stupid thing to say the graphics look outdated. Of course they don't look like the best graphics you can possibly get, because no other game does this looking this good with this amount of people on one battlefield. Of course, granted, we haven't seen any of this massive stuff yet in the multiplayer, so you're looking at it from a skirmish point of view at these small player maps. But before you comment that, imagine a game with these mechanics, with these graphics, and then imagine 200-300 people on one server. And that's the way you need to be looking at it. It's not comparable to any other game that's out at the moment. You wouldn't compare it mechanically to a game like Battlefield. You wouldn't compare the engine to a game like Assassin's Creed. So why are you comparing the graphics? It doesn't make any sense at all. Furthermore, though, some cool little things. We can see the new engine kicking in, seeing arrows kick up dust when they miss and hit the ground, and of course players when they run around, and cavalry kicking up particles of dust. Of course, it's going to be different in different environments, seeing this more in the desert and sandy areas and even dusty areas, and less on cobbled streets and in grassy lands. There's some cool new mechanics which once again is going to be very taxing on the engine, especially when you have hundreds of people in the same map, once again having to limit something like the graphics. But the maps furthermore seem to be much larger than most of the multiplayer games that we have that aren't MMOs out at the moment. Hopefully they're going to push it further, a lot further than Warband, because whilst the maps were great for the size of the player base, I'm really hoping that they try and just push it that little bit further. We can see here actually when he goes over the ridge, in the background you can see sort of an oasis, some palm trees. Can you get out there? I'm really hoping you can go that far. But it depends, because it's going to have to balance it between the different game sizes and the different amount of people allowed into each map. I guess the different game modes will have to balance with sizes. Will there be a different map for a different game mode, or will it be just one pool of maps and then each game mode changes the assets to cater for it? For example, playing a skirmish mode, it's the same map as if you were playing a battle type mode, but it just adds flags in. But that's going to be quite different, because that's very different between 200 players on a battlefield to 12 players. Furthermore, we see a new perk, the Romfear. Now, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but who cares? I don't. As far as I know, that's pretty much the same thing as a Falx, just a bit longer. So this confirms what I speculated last time, where we're able to see the Falx. There's some new perks which let you use that. I'm assuming that's limited to one type of faction and one type of class, but it's going to be interesting to see which factions have different perks. I'm really looking forward to looking and delving into each perks of each faction and each troops, because that's something you're going to really be able to look into and customize throughout your multiplayer experience in Bannerlord. Seeing so many people talk about how they want more single player footage in these Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord devlogs is understandable, but just think about it. The amount of single player footage we got in the past is way above the multiplayer. As far as I know, we've only had one other multiplayer gameplay demo, which was the Captain mode at Gamescom last year. So really, this is the only multiplayer stuff we've seen since then, and we've seen single player stuff all the way back since 2012, 2013. So I'm glad that they're showing us some of this multiplayer stuff, because this will be what we'll be able to play first. I know a lot of people, and know a lot of you love the single player, but there's so many people that love the multiplayer with the communities, with the clans and how it works, but they can't really release that as a beta. The multiplayer is what mostly is released as a beta, because that's the bit that needs testing the most. Furthermore, we can see the new skirmish game mode, including of these multiple capture points. I'll get into them a little bit later, because we're actually able to see definition of what they're about. You can see the nice touches of blood splatter staying on the ground from a past death after this man was killed in an alleyway. That gives me bad memories of my childhood, and it's a small mechanic, but if used well, there's some interesting custom game modes that I can think of that this sort of thing would work well with. Of course, awesome dismounting someone on their horse with a bow, the new ragdoll effects being shown on screen right here, and I'm looking forward to creating these spear walls, creating these archer walls, being able to dismount cavalry. It's going to be some really fun gameplay, but of course a map like this isn't great for cavalry, but it's going to be extremely deadly when it comes to these open plains and battlefields. And of course, at the end of the round, when it is won, you can see the enemy team has run out of morale, and that is the winning condition for this game mode. There are a few different winning conditions that you can do, but running out of morale is one of them. And this is quite an interesting new mechanic, because it's something that hasn't been included in a Mount & Blade game before. I'm assuming it's being affected by the flags being captured and probably the kills dealt to the other team as well. But that's pretty much it for this week's analysis of the second half of the Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord gameplay. If you really enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like on it and subscribe, because there'll be a lot more Bannerlord content be coming very, very soon. I'm assuming we're going to be seeing some new gameplay, and I'm really hoping we're going to know when the beta is opening up to everyone else very soon. But thanks so much for watching, guys, and until then, I will see you in the next one.